Good morning everyone, Graham Russell here to administer your daily dose of news. Jeremy Corbyn will today seek to move his party away from Brexit divisions to unite it behind his alternative to the greed is good capitalism that brought about the global financial crisis. The Labour leader will use his speech at noon in Liverpool to accuse the establishment of straining every sinew to prop up the system that created the crash of 2008. People in this country know, they showed that in June last year, that the old way of running things isn't working anymore. That's why Labour is offering a radical plan to rebuild and transform Britain, he will say. Corbyn will lay out a green jobs revolution that will create 400,000 new positions, part of his plan to reinvigorate traditionally Labour towns he says have been left behind. It will involve the building of 13,500 wind turbines and thousands of solar panels and a fresh look at other technologies, including nuclear, to tackle climate change. No mention of whether he will apologize for the handling of the anti-Semitism row, but the issue returned to prominence when a bomb threat forced the cancellation of an event held by the Jewish Voice for Labour group on Tuesday evening. Nobody is ruling out Remain as an option, Keir Starmer at Labour's Brexit debate. Video alright, just a little bit of Brexit for you. Keir Starmer has sold his Brexit compromise to the party faithful, and Theresa May will try to sell hers to big business in New York. If you haven't been following every cough and spit from the party conference, here's a quick rundown of the best bits. I didn't expect that. Donald Trump faced a tougher crowd than usual at the UN, with world leaders laughing at his suggestion his administration had achieved more than almost any other in history. Grandstanding aside, the U.S. president's main target was the corrupt dictatorship in Iran, who he blamed for the Syrian conflict. He made no mention of Russia. National Security Advisor John Bolton echoed that warning. Also in ill favor were OPEC and the concept of multilateralism, while Kim Jong-un was praised for his courage. The address was a manifesto for nativism, writes our World Affairs editor, Julian Borger. Today, Theresa May will make her keynote speech and hold one-on-one talks with Trump. World leaders laugh at Donald Trump as he brags about his achievements. Video problem drinking. Teenagers in the UK and Ireland are among the worst in Europe when it comes to getting drunk, a long-term study by the World Health Organization has found. However, the rates, while still dangerously high, have fallen considerably. False and harmful drinking across Europe have been greatest in countries with the highest prevalence, which includes those in the Nordic region, said lead editor Dr. Joe Inchla. Midweek catch-up, your handy update on the main stories. Greater than Theresa May has kept up the pressure on Iran over the jailing of Nazanin Zaghari-Ratcliffe, telling President Hassan Rouhani during talks in New York she has serious concerns about the detention of the charity worker. Greater than Bill Cosby has been jailed for between 3 and 10 years for drugging and sexually assaulting a woman over a decade ago. It is time for justice, said Judge Stephen O'Neill, who handed down the sentence on Tuesday in Pennsylvania. Greater than the second woman to accuse Supreme Court nominee Brett Kavanaugh of sexual misconduct has been accused by Donald Trump of being totally inebriated and all messed up. The second accuser has nothing, Trump said. The second accuser thinks maybe it could have been him, maybe not. Greater than police are demanding almost unfettered access to highly personal records and data from potential rape victims before pressing ahead with their cases, documents obtained under Freedom of Information requests show. In some areas, complainants are being asked to disclose health, school and college records, counseling notes and all data from their electronic devices. Greater than Theresa May has ruled out the idea of another general election before Brexit, saying it would not be in the national interest. Speculation has increased since the Prime Minister's Chequers plan got a cool reception from EU leaders in Salzburg. BBC to drop number 2. BBC Two is ditching its digital approach, at least in terms of its on-screen identity, opting for colorful curves, see below, instead of the numeral. It is supposed to represent the channel's constant eclecticism, and is part of the first total rebrand in decades as the channel looks to head off Netflix et al. Controller Patrick Holland said it was out with celebrity-fronted documentaries and in with new ideas from Charlie Brooker plus a big-budget adaptation of Eleanor Catton's Booker Prize-winning novel The Luminaries. The new BBC Two logo. Photograph, BBC Current News. A whale more at home in the waters off Greenland or Svalbard has found its way up the Thames to Gravesend, Kent. Storms are thought to have blown it south, and authorities are keeping an eye on its health. The briefing pauses here for a moment to remember the poor old Thames whale of 2006. Lost beluga whale seen in Thames estuary. Video lunchtime read, "Do you hear that? She has a demon inside." Elise, who was involved with South Korea's Grace Road Church. During a school summer break, Elise traveled to South Korea from her home in Chicago with her mother. But instead of a 6-week holiday spent with friends and family, the teenager found herself trapped at Grace Road Church, a South Korean cult that has been in the media spotlight since its leader, Shin Ok-ju, was arrested in August, accused of depriving followers of their liberty and subjecting them to ritual beatings. Elise's mother, who became interested in the cult after listening to hours of sermons online from Chicago, destroyed Elise's passport and told her she'd never see her father and sister again. One time, when Elise refused to attend a sermon, she was half carried, half dragged screaming downstairs. Over her screams, Elise says she could hear the pastor of the church, Shin Ok-ju, tell the congregation, "Do you hear that? She has a demon inside of her and that's why she's screaming." Do you want to turn out like that? Sport. The pressure on manager Jose Mourinho continues to mount after Manchester United's shock loss to Derby in the Carabao Cup. Scott Carson saved an effort from Phil Jones to see Frank Lampard's championship side progress on penalties, but there was more drama off the pitch as the Portuguese's testy relationship with Paul Pogba hit a new low, with Mourinho vowing the player would never again captain United. Elsewhere, Manchester City comfortably progressed past Oxford United with youngster Phil Foden scoring late, while Fulham handed a debut to 15-year-old Harvey Elliott in their win over Millwall. Lance Armstrong has savaged former rival David Miller's candidacy for president of the Professional Writers' Union, calling him the last person that would come to mind for this role. Meanwhile, Tiger Woods has warned rivals he's back in business ahead of the Ryder Cup, as the resurgent American chases just his second win in 8 tournaments. Business delays of just 30 minutes at UK ports, and the Irish border could bankrupt 1 in 10 British firms, says the Chartered Institute of Procurement and Supply, (CIPS), as it warns of the dangers of a no-deal Brexit. "The idea of they won no deal is just crazy," said John Glenn, an economist at CIPS. Ryanair has cancelled nearly 200 flights as it prepares for strikes across Europe on Friday. It said all 30,000 affected passengers had been notified by text and email, but wouldn't say which flights they were. The pound is buying $1.317 and €1.119. Several papers lead today with news of the Labour conference, which Jeremy Corbyn will address today, including The Guardian, which splashes with Corbyn pledges radical plan to end "greed is good" capitalism. The Mirror reports on Corbyn's plans to expand childcare. "We'll put kids first. The eye has power to the wind farms," as a headline on a story about Corbyn's renewable energy policy. Photograph. The Guardian. The Telegraph's lead story today is May, "We'll slash taxes to lowest in the G20, and the Express also has a quote from May on its front, "I'll slash taxes to battle EU." The FT's lettuce. Argentina crisis deepens as bank chief quits after 3 months in post. The Sun has a report of a 6 stunt by police stay-in Fred West sell for £75. The Mail is unhappy about banks hanging us out to dry, and the Times leads with Pret A Manger told 9 times of deadly seed risk. Featuring heavily in picture slots are Bill Cosby, who received a jail sentence of between 3 and 10 years on Tuesday, and Meghan Markle, who was out for her first solo royal evening event last night. For more news, www.theguardian.com. Sign up. The Guardian Morning Briefing is delivered to thousands of inboxes bright and early every weekday. If you are not already receiving it by email, you can sign up here.